Somewhere tonight, at exactly 3 in the morning, over 100 million adults will suddenly open their eyes with no idea why. They will lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling, calculating how many hours are left before they have to get up. Then they will reach for their phone, see the time, and feel a small wave of quiet despair. 3 in the morning again. This happens to almost every adult human being in the modern world, night after night, with a strange and unnerving regularity. You may believe it is a problem, a symptom of a broken life, but tonight we are going to tell you the honest truth. The 3 a.m. wake-up is not a modern disease. It is an ancient inheritance, and your ancestors had a beautiful word for it. In Old French, the middle of the night wake period was called Dorveille, a graceful blend of the words for sleep and waking. It was not a symptom. It was not an illness. It was a natural, expected, and even welcome part of every single human night. For thousands of years, humans went to bed early, slept deeply until midnight, then woke naturally for an hour or two before dawn. Then, when the wake period ended, they would fall back into a second sleep that carried them peacefully into the morning. The 3 a.m. wake-up you experience tonight is not a broken version of sleep. It is the ghost of an older, wiser rhythm. So the real question is not why you wake at 3. The question is what your body wants you to do with that hour. To understand that, we need to look at what actually happens inside you at exactly 3 in the morning, when everything shifts. Your body temperature reaches its lowest point of the entire 24-hour day, somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning. Cortisol, the hormone that helps you feel awake and alert, begins its slow morning rise from a very deep valley of nighttime silence. Melatonin, the hormone that made you sleepy earlier tonight, drops sharply as your body prepares itself for the approaching dawn. Your first big block of sleep, called deep sleep, is now finishing, and your brain is quietly moving between deeper and lighter states. Around 3 a.m., you are naturally in a much lighter phase of sleep, closer to the surface, much easier to wake from something small. A creaking floor, a cat walking across the room, a warm partner turning over. Anything can lift you out of light sleep. But most of the time, nothing outside wakes you at all. Your body simply decides on its own that the first sleep is complete. You open your eyes to a dark and silent bedroom, feeling awake and alert for reasons your modern mind cannot easily explain. This is Dorveille, the space between two sleeps, the space where your ancestors used to live for 1 to 2 hours each night. And here is the strangest and most beautiful part of this ancient hour, the part that historians and neuroscientists both find remarkable. During this middle wake period, your brain produces high levels of prolactin, a calming hormone associated with meditation and mother-child bonding. The 3 a.m. state is not the panicked, adrenaline-filled state of a real emergency. It is a soft, dreamy, quietly meditative brain state. Modern volunteers who experienced this state in sleep experiments described it as one of the most peaceful mental states they had ever felt. So 3 a.m. is not your body attacking you. It is your body offering an ancient gift you have forgotten how to receive. The problem is not the wake-up itself. The problem is what modern humans do when we find ourselves suddenly awake at night. The first thing you probably do is reach for your phone, and this is the exact moment when the ancient hour breaks apart. The blue light hits your eyes. Your body clock in the brain receives a false signal that the sun is rising outside. Cortisol surges too early. Your peaceful Dorveille state collapses, and your brain switches into full daytime alert mode by mistake. Then your mind begins to calculate. 5 hours left, 4 hours left, 3.5 hours left before the alarm rings. This math turns curiosity into stress, and stress into cortisol, and cortisol into a fully awake body that will not fall back asleep. You lie there, alone in the dark, blaming yourself for not being able to sleep. The very act of trying makes it impossible. None of your ancestors would have recognized what you just did. Not a single one, going back 100,000 years. For them, waking at 3 a.m. was not a signal to panic. It was a signal to live quietly for 1 or 2 hours. So what exactly did our ancestors do during this hour? This soft, dreamy, prolactin warmed space between the first and second sleeps. Many of them prayed. The middle of the night was considered the most spiritually powerful time to speak directly with the divine. The Catholic monasteries have preserved this tradition for over 1,000 years, with monks rising at 2 or 3 a.m. to sing the vigils. In Islamic tradition, the last third of the night is the most sacred prayer time, when the divine is nearest to a wakeful heart. In Jewish tradition, the practice of Tikkun Chatzot involves waking at midnight for study, prayer, and quiet contemplation of the world. In Hindu and Buddhist traditions, the hours between 3 and 6 in the morning are called Brahmamuhurta, the hour of the divine. Every major spiritual tradition on earth has independently discovered that the 3 a.m. state carries something soft, luminous, and quietly special. Beyond prayer, our ancestors used this hour to read, write, think, talk with a partner, or simply lie in the dark. Many of the greatest works of literature and philosophy in history were composed during this exact ancient middle-of-the-night window. Charles Dickens famously wandered London during his own Dorveille hours, and much of his best writing came out of those quiet middle-night walks. Mary Shelley conceived the story of Frankenstein during a period of middle-of-the-night wakefulness, after a long dinner at a lakeside villa. The composer Frédéric Chopin regularly rose at 3 a.m. to compose, believing the middle-night mind carried a musical clarity daytime could not match. In the letters of Marcus Aurelius, of Thomas Jefferson, of Jane Austen, again and again, writers described the 3 a.m. hour as their sharpest. These were not exceptional or sleepless people. They were ordinary humans who understood what to do with their natural middle-of-night wake period. They simply lived within a culture that had not yet decided the middle night wake was a broken thing to be medicated away. In many traditions, married couples used this quiet hour for intimacy. Historical medical texts often recommended it as the ideal window for love. In small villages, neighbors would sometimes visit each other during Dorveille, checking on the sick, sharing tea, keeping watch through the night. In farming communities, some rose to tend animals, check fields for predators, or simply feel the shape of the land under the stars. Most of them, though, did what any warm, sleepy person would want. They simply lay in the dark and let their mind wander. The Dorveille state, historians tell us, was a great engine of poems and songs and dreams and gentle philosophical thoughts through the ages. Then the modern world arrived, with its electric bulbs and factory shifts, and the Dorveille slowly became a problem to be solved. First it became insomnia in the doctor's office, then anxiety in the therapist's office, then a $500 billion sleep industry. Sleeping pills, sleep trackers, blackout curtains, weighted blankets, meditation apps, magnesium supplements, ambient noise machines, all sold to fix the ancient hour. But the ancient hour is not broken, and no product on the shelf will ever bring back what your ancestors had for free. What your ancestors had was a story. The simple story that 3 a.m. was normal, expected, and even, in some traditions, a gift. You can have that story back tonight without buying anything, without downloading anything, without changing anything about your body or your bedroom. Next time you find yourself awake at 3 in the morning, try something ancient. Do not reach for your phone. Do not calculate hours. Do not turn on the light. Do not check the time. Do not run through your worries or plan tomorrow's meetings and errands. Instead, let yourself lie in the dark and feel your ancestors beside you. Every human who ever lived spent time in this exact hour. Pray if you pray. Think if you think. Remember someone if you feel like remembering. The middle night mind is generous and dreamy and unafraid. Or simply do nothing at all. Dorveille is one of the very few places in modern life where doing nothing is a beautiful choice. Let the ancient rhythm carry you gently back into your second sleep, the way it carried every single one of your ancestors before you. Nothing is broken inside you at 3 a.m. The only broken thing is the modern story we have told ourselves about this hour. Sleep well tonight, and if you happen to wake at 3 in the morning, whisper hello to every ancestor quietly awake with you.